Good morning. It's Monday morning, April the 12th. Hope that you're having a great start to your week. Let's talk about the Gospels and the resurrection appearances a little bit. The earliest Gospel we have, I think, is Mark. And Mark ends suddenly in verse 8 of chapter 16. It just says the women were terrified and said nothing to anyone. Well, clearly they did say something to someone because we all know the story. But they're endings that have been added to Gospel of Mark. They're not attested in the early writers or the earliest manuscripts that we have. So somebody felt the need to add some stuff later, and they put the snake handling passage and stuff on there, on the end of Mark. Matthew just has a kind of a summary of Jesus was risen and appeared and then ascended into heaven. Luke has the Emmaus Road story and the stories about Thomas and doubting Thomas. In the Gospel of John, we find several stories, and we find Jesus talking with Mary Magdalene in the garden outside the tomb, and then later we find Jesus is in Galilee at the Sea of Galilee. The 7 or 8 disciples decide to go fishing one night, and they're out in their boat and they're doing their thing. And he's on the shore, and he says, "Hey, did you catch any fish?" And they say, "No." And he said, "Well, cast your net on the other side of the boat." And when you think about it, I mean, it's the same water under the boat, so what difference does that make? But they caught the huge net full of fish. And they realize at that point, this is Jesus. This must be Jesus. And Peter swims to the shore all excited. The other disciples drag in this heavy net full of 153 fish, it said. Well, Jesus then cooks. He's cooking things on a charcoal fire, and he offers Peter 3 times a chance to affirm him. Peter denied him 3 times a couple nights before, and so Jesus essentially gives him 3 chances to overcome those denials and affirm him, which is to say, I think, that Jesus offers us forgiveness and a new chance, a new start, over and over, and that he does that in such a way that it doesn't exactly match the things that we do, but it sort of makes up for them in a kind of way. He asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And by the 3rd time, Peter's getting a little upset because he said yes, but I think then Peter realizes what he's doing. And in each case, Jesus says, "Well, I'm good. Feed my sheep, tend my sheep, feed my lambs. Do these things for me." And so Peter's offered forgiveness in a concrete way for each of his 3 denials. And we're offered that same sort of forgiveness for our sins, even though they go on and on sometimes. We're offered that forgiveness and that love of God that sustains us then for the future. And Jesus calls Peter to this new life and tells him, you're going to actually be carried where you don't want to go. And actually, Peter is finally crucified upside down at his own request. But in Rome, this happens, and he wants to not be crucified the way Jesus was. He says, "I'm not worthy of that," so he's crucified upside down. And he dies, but he dies knowing that he has served his Lord well. And that's all any of us can ask. So have a great week, and we'll see you more tomorrow.